Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing really well today. Over the past couple of years, we've taken a look at multiple different like note-taking and documentation apps. And we're going to do something like that today. Well, in fact, we are going to do that today, but we're going to take a look at something that's a little different and a little of the same, all rolled up into one. And what we're going to look at is something called Blinko. But before we get into all of that, here's a quick message from today's video sponsor. This video is sponsored by DataCamp. Have you ever wished you could have a conversation with a computer that actually gets you? Well, DataCamp is the place to be. They've got this awesome lineup of ChatGPT courses perfect for whether you're a total beginner or you're already dabbling in AI. Imagine this. You could start with their Working with the OpenAI API course, where you learn to solve real-world problems using AI models. You'll begin developing AI applications and learn how easy it is to start integrating AI into new applications and systems. And it doesn't stop there. DataCamp dives deep into how ChatGPT thinks with their Prompt Engineering for Developers course. You'll master the art of crafting the perfect prompts to get the most out of this powerful tool. But here's the kicker. DataCamp isn't just about watching videos. You'll be writing real code, experimenting with ChatGPT firsthand, and building your own projects. So if you're ready to tap into the incredible power of ChatGPT, head over to the link in the description and check out DataCamp's courses. Also, DataCamp is having their Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale that runs through December 5th, where you can get 50% off. Again, be sure to check the links in the video description for more information. Thanks again to DataCamp for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so this is the Blinko homepage, and it says, Blinko, capture your idea. And then it's subtext or tagline or whatever is AI enhanced, fast, simplified, artistic. Now, some of those are going to be subjective, I suppose. But one thing I want to address, because I know there will be a group of you out there who will be in the comments saying, I don't want AI anywhere near my stuff. And that's fine. Perfectly fine. You don't have to use AI with Blinko. If you want to use it, you can go into the dashboard, you can enable it, you can add your OpenAI API keys and all of that sort of thing, or integrate however is available when you watch this video. But you have to turn it on. It isn't on by default. There's no connection to AI automatically. You've got to manually go in and do it very, very purposefully. So with that said, there's some more information here on the homepage. Not a lot going on here, but if we jump over to the Get Started page, we can see that Blinko is an innovative open source project designed for individuals who want to quickly capture and organize their fleeting thoughts. We're going to come back to that. Blinko allows users to seamlessly jot down ideas the moment they strike, ensuring that no spark of creativity is lost. Now, one of the issues that I have very often is that I will have an idea for a project, a video, something, right? And I won't think to write it down. I won't think to text it to myself. I won't think to make note of it. And Blinko actually makes that really, really easy. To my knowledge, there is no app for Android or iOS for this, but there doesn't need to be one because the app is actually built kind of mobile first, meaning that if you open it up on your phone in the browser, it's going to look and work really, really well. I've done some testing with it over the past little bit, and it works really, really well in the browser. In fact, there are some features in the browser that I really dig. But the idea behind this is that there are two parts to Blinko that we'll cover in a bit more depth later, and that is Blinkos and that is Notes. And basically, in fact, if we scroll down a little bit, here we go. There's more information here. You can read about why you should use Blinko and that sort of thing. But hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a better idea of whether or not this is the right app for you. So, Blinko. The Blinko section is crafted for capturing quick flashes of inspiration. Users can jot down spontaneous ideas instantly without worrying about format or complex operations. These records can be set automatically to clear at intervals, ensuring that the content doesn't pile up excessively, keeping the section clean and efficient. You can schedule cleanup on your system here. We'll take a look at that in the settings. But the idea is, if you've got an idea and you just need to jot it down real quick, you can pop open the Blinko app. You can just create a Blinko in the app very, very quickly and easily. Or while you're there, you can also convert it to a note, or you can create notes. So let's talk about that real quick. The notes section provides a more organized management system where users can categorize notes with tags and utilize batch operations to easily organize and classify a large volume of notes. So that's basically the difference. Blinkos are just quick fleeting thoughts that you want to make sure you jot down so you don't forget them. And of course, notes are exactly that. You can do formatting and that sort of stuff. But basically, we can keep scrolling down. We get into the features section here with AI enhanced note retrieval. Again, totally optional, turned off by default. Don't have to worry about that. Again, you own your own data. It's fast and efficient. The search on it is just blazing fast. Super happy with that. There's a weird thing with the search that we'll cover in a bit though as well, but the search is really good. Lightweight architect with heavy lifting, built with Next.js. Blinko offers a sleek, lightweight architecture that delivers robust performance without sacrificing speed or efficiency. Open for collaboration. You can enable or disable the ability for other people to register on your system, on your Blinko setup if you want to do that. And then of course the next section here is Blinko is completely free and always will be, with no hidden costs or premium features locked behind paywalls. Really stoked to see that specifically declared there, as I have run into some stuff recently that I wanted to cover that I haven't, because I'm trying to find the right way to talk about it. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of Blinko. So let's take a quick look at my Blinko instance that I've got set up for demonstrative purposes. Then we'll take a look at actually getting Blinko installed in Docker using a Portainer setup. Before we do that, everything that I talk about in this video will be linked in the video description, including the Blinko homepage and their GitHub repository. Just so we're all on the same page, you can go down to the description and find all of the resources you need about today's video. So this is my Blinko instance, and by default, you're on the Blinko page. And again, if we look, we've got Blinkos and we've got notes. So again, Blinkos are just quick fleeting thoughts that you want to jot down very quickly, and you can say, this is my new idea. Don't forget to do this, right? And then Control Enter and you're done. Or of course you can click the little go arrow airplane thing over there. But if you're just trying to knock something out real quick, Control Enter works. So we've created a Blinko. Right, super easy. And here we can see some of this was already in here, like this welcome attachment stuff, this welcome to do stuff. These were already in there, and this is just welcome to multi-level tags, which we'll get to in just a moment. But some of this stuff was already here, right? So let's say we want to create a note instead, right? We can just click notes. And we can, this is a note, right? Same general idea. We've got all of the same stuff over here, I believe. And what I actually like is you can see as I click back and forth, it didn't remove my text, which I appreciate. The other thing you can do is just toggle right here to toggle back and forth between Blinkos and notes. If you want to switch back and forth on the fly, you can do that. We're going to make this a note. And we're just going to say, now we've got this note. So we can see that these are categorized differently. Blinkos and notes are separate pages. They are exclusive from each other. You can, however, if you wanted to convert them, like let's say I've got this super important new idea that I want to turn to a note. You can literally just come over here to the little lightning bolt and click it, and right there now it's converted to a note. So that's kind of the general gist of this. Of course, there's formatting options for like inserting hashtags, lists, bulleted lists, numbered lists, checklists, tables, images, code blocks, sand packs. This is actually something that was new for me. I wasn't familiar with the term Sandpack. Sandpack is a component toolkit for creating your own live running code editing experience powered by Code Sandbox. So, I just learned that when I got into Blinko. So you can click this and you can have kind of a live coding environment here if you wanted to do that. And I just kind of thought that was a neat thing that you could do. We're going to delete that code block. And of course, Let's refresh that. There we go. We can also upload files, and we can upload files. Those should be separate. But what I dig about this, which honestly surprised me a little bit, I come into Blinko, to the Blinko page rather. We've got some images over here, and like I've got a video over here that plays, right? And I can come over to resources, and you can see all of the videos and images and all of the stuff that's been uploaded. They're categorized as resources. And I really like that you can say, okay, well, I know I uploaded a picture of this thing, but maybe you've got a bunch of notes, a bunch of Blinkos, whatever, you can't find it. Maybe this is how you find it. One thing I did want to check. Okay, so there is no search on the resources page. This is here, obviously, but there is no search on this. And that was one of the other things that I noticed going through. Let's actually go to Blinkos here. Like I know that this video file has the word squirrel in it. But if I type in squirrel, if I could spell it, it doesn't search file names. And I hope that at some point they add the ability to search file names. That could be super, super helpful for lots of people, I'm sure. But what I do like about this is like very, very quickly and easily, just by me typing, Reddit, right? Or red. Here's everything with red in it. It just filtered out everything that didn't have that string of characters in it. So their search is really, really good here. It's very fast, and I really like that. However, the thing to note about this is that if you're on the Blinko page, you're only searching through Blinkos. If you want to search through your notes, you got to go to the notes page, and then you can search through notes. Those search functionalities are exclusive from each other. In order to search Blinkos, you have to be on the Blinko page. To search notes, you have to be on the notes page. I don't believe there is any universal search on here, and that might be something that would be neat for them to add as well. We've got an archived section over here, so nothing in my setup has been archived, but we could do that. Like we could just go over to notes. Let's see, can we just, archive, just like that. And now we come over to archive. Hey, look, and we've got an archive. Very, very straightforward. And again, search works on this page for anything that happens to be here that is searchable. Next, we've got tags, right? And we kind of talked about tags briefly. Hey guys, I realize as I'm editing this that I cut off both the left and the right side of the page a little bit throughout this. I decided to record a window versus my screen, and I screwed that up. You're not really missing anything though, other than the B in Blinko and kind of like the hashtags and some of the emojis in the hashtags at the very beginning. I apologize for that. I recognize what I've done here kind of screws that up, but you're not really missing anything. I just wanted to acknowledge it to let you know that yes, I see it. I screwed that up, and I will try to do better about that in the future. If we come into formatting, like this is just a tag that I created, right? This is just a single tag, not a big deal, but we can give our tags little emojis if we want to do that. We've actually seen that in other note-taking apps in the past. This Reddit one, however, we can see, hey, look, we've got Linus under Reddit, right? So we can subcategorize things with hashtags, and I love that. Welcome, same thing. This welcome hashtag and everything under it was already there when I deployed this. And then, of course, Docker. This is the Docker Compose that we're going to take a look at here in just a little bit. I put that in there just to do some testing. In fact, you know what? Let's actually do that real quick. If we come in here to edit, what I like is, of course, because it knows that it's a code block, it's numbered. Like each line is numbered, which I love. But you can also determine which language it's in. And of course, by default, it was just plain. And we can see that it removed all of the relevant color coding for what we had there. But if I come back to YAML, there we've got our color coding back to make sure that we can more easily discern what's going on that page. And of course, we can also change it down here. I'm not sure why it's in two spots, but it is. And of course, we can scroll all the way down. We can add hashtags. We can select from existing hashtags. We'll call it formatting as well and click save. And now if I come over, we've got a couple of different options under formatting. A moment ago, we only had one. Let's jump into the settings real quick. So my basic information, it's got my name, it's got an access token for the API that's down here. So there is actually a bit of an API that you can mess with if you want to do that. But between those two spots, and I feel it's a weird place to put this, there's this allow register here. And that's just a weird place to put that, in my opinion. But you can turn, that's by default, allow register is off other than registering for the first account. But once your account is created, no one else can register without you turning that back on. If we scroll down a little farther, we've got some preference stuff for theme. There's, by default, it's in light mode. Of course, I like it in dark mode. The language is in English, but there are other options there as well. Hidden navigation bar on mobile, turn it on or off. Order by create date, on or off. Text folder length of 500 characters. More than adequate, in my opinion. Next, we've got device card columns for mobile, tablet, and desktop, which is for the default. Time format, we can select what we want our time format to look like. We can see our user list down here. We can create users if we want. Then we get into the AI section down here where you can turn that on and off as far as using AI. Then there is a select model provider, which is OpenAI. You can select the model, you can enter your key and your endpoint. And then you can do stuff like rebuild the embedding index. And then we've got backups where we can schedule a backup. We can schedule archive Blinkos. So basically any Blinko that is more than 90 days old will get archived, not deleted, but archived to help kind of keep things a bit cleaner in your setup. The object storage, by default, I've got this set up with local storage, but you can also use S3 if you want to do that. I don't, but it's got all of the stuff in here you can enter to store things in S3 if you wanted to go that route. And then there's an option down here to import from BKO file, or you can export your memos instance and import that into here if you want to do that as well. So a couple of cool features there. Then we've also got our version, what version we're running, and then the GitHub link to jump back over to their GitHub page. So I think that's actually a good spot to segue over into their GitHub page. So this is it. Oops, I keep hovering over that for some reason. So an open source self-hosted personal note tool prioritizing privacy built using TypeScript. Very, very basic up there. Again, a link to their demo that you can take a look at. By default, the username and password are Blinko. That's actually discussed right down here. But of course, you can go look through the code. They've got 3 different Docker Compose files that you can dig through and decide which one you want to deploy. And of course, Blinko is an innovative open source project designed for individuals who want to quickly capture and organize their fleeting thoughts. I think we covered this earlier. And then of course, a little demonstration here, or a little screen grab of what it might look like. And it looks like they've got AI turned on in this screen grab. That's what's going on down there. And then of course, more information about this. And if you wanted to, you could start with Docker Compose in seconds by running that command. And I'm not always a fan of that. So we're going to do things the hard way. And then more information about contribution and sponsorship if you want to go that route. But I think what we want to do is actually come up here and take a look at the Docker Compose file. They've got Docker Compose, dockercompose.test, and dockercompose.prod for production. I'm assuming there. It's pretty straightforward stuff. And I don't think there's actually any difference between this, between the production version and the just Docker Compose version. So let's just take a quick look at this. They're starting up at the top with networks. So we've got a Blinko network driver bridge. That's fine. What I do appreciate about this is there is no version on here. Lots of developers are still putting version up at the top of their Docker Compose files. It's not needed anymore. But below that, after networks, we've got services. There are a couple of them. We've got the first service is the Blinko website. That's the front end. That's the dashboard, the interface. And then a little farther down, we've got a Postgres database for storing the information for your setup. But coming back to the Blinko website service, it is just Blinko /Blinko on the latest tag if you want to go that route. Container name is Blinko website. Nothing wrong with that. Our environment variables, we've got a few of these. The first one is the node environment, which is production. We've got a couple of next auth URLs and next public base URL. If you're going to put this on a .com or on a reverse proxy to be remotely accessed on a domain name, you'll want to change those to be whatever that domain name is. So https://blinko.yourdomain.com or whatever it happens to be for both of these in most cases. The next auth secret, this is for encryption stuff and cookies most likely. So make sure you change that to a long string of random characters. Next, we've got our database URL. It is, again, a Postgres SQL database. So we've got our username and our password and the name of the database there. And then it depends on Postgres and making sure that Postgres is healthy before it does anything. Again, very straightforward stuff. Now, by default, and I don't understand why, the persistent storage for this is commented out. So like it says here, make sure you have enough permissions. You can uncomment these two lines and map the storage to wherever you need it on your system. And we'll take a look at that when we deploy this on my system. We've got a restart policy of always. So if your system reboots, updates, whatever, when the system comes back up, it will automatically, these containers should automatically come back up. However, that also includes even if you've manually stopped them. So very often I like to see this as unless stopped instead of always. But again, that's completely up to you. We've got some logging options here that you can change as necessary. Some ports down here by default, it runs on 1111, which is great. I don't have a problem with that. But in the highly unlikely circumstance that you're already using port 1111 for something else, you can change the first half of that line to be something else, just as long as you leave the colon in the 1111 after it. We're also going to do a health check after this every 30 seconds to make sure that everything is up and running appropriately. And then we're going to attach it to that Blinko network that was up here at the top of the screen. So that is the Blinko website dashboard service. Next, we've got the Postgres setup here. Again, we're going to use Postgres 14. We've got a container name of Blinko Postgres. Again, a restart of always for that. I might change that again to unless stopped, but that's up to you. By default, it's using port 5435. If you've already got a Postgres database using that port, again, you can change the first half of that to something else. Just do not change the colon or anything after it. Again, we've got our database, our user, and our password that align with the information that we looked at above. That's how you're going to connect those. So whatever you change in one place, make sure you change it in the other place, just to make sure that they can communicate with each other. Next, we've got our time zone. You probably want to change that unless you happen to live in Shanghai. And again, we've got persistent storage that is commented out for some reason. You'll want to uncomment that and store this where it makes the most sense on your system. And then again, below that, we've got a health check every 5 seconds, a bit more aggressive with the health checks there. Again, we're going to attach this to the Blinko network. And that's just a security thing to make sure that they can only communicate with each other or anything else that happens to be on the Blinko network on your system. And that is just an internal network for those two to communicate and nothing more than that. So we can just copy this as it is. Okay, so here's our Portainer instance real quick. I thought I had logged into that and I had not. So what we're going to do, two things. The first thing, I need to set my environment variable here. You don't have to do this, unless you haven't done it yet. 212. And that's just going to allow us to make things easier later. I'll show you that. So anyway, our environment variable is set up. We're going to go to stacks because that's how we're going to deploy this. You can absolutely deploy this via a Docker or via like a Docker compose.yml command in the terminal. If you want to go that route, just not how we're going to do it here. So I'm going to create a new stack. I'm going to call it Blinko. And I'm going to paste this in. And then we're going to scroll up and we're going to change some things and talk about some stuff. Oops, here we go. Okay. So again, if you were going to put this on, on a public facing URL, you would uncomment those two lines and do something like, blinko.mysite.com, right? Like this and like that, right? That's, if you were going to put that on a public facing URL, you would do something like that. The next auth secret, you should absolutely change that. I'm actually going to comment those out because I'm not going to do that for this. Again, the Postgres or the database URL, you should change the username, password, whatever there. But again, if you do that, also change it down here in the environment variables for that database. Everything else here is fine, other than we do want to, dang it. We do want to make sure that we give this an actual persistent storage path that we can use. So I'm going to do something like home, Docker, Blinko, and then app, right? You can map that however you like to. I just like to have a path to follow when I deploy my Docker containers. Again, I would probably change this to unless stopped. And then if you were already using port 1111, you might do something like that, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just only change that first half. Next, we'll go into the Postgres database area here. All of this is fine. Again, if you need to, you can change the first half of this database port. Just don't change any of the second half. Again, change the username and the password for the sake of security. Next, we're going to uncomment like that. And we're just going to do that. We've added home Docker Blinko. I'm going to call this DB for database though. And then, where was it? Oops, I missed a line there. I apologize. I missed two things there, actually. I'm going to do unless stopped, and then America/Denver, like so. And that's basically everything that I need to change in this setup. Once I'm happy with all of this, I can scroll down and I can click on deploy the stack. Give this just a couple of minutes to do its thing, and then once it has come back up, we'll come back. Okay, so here we are just a moment later, and we can see that this has deployed. Our Postgres database is healthy and our application is starting. We can jump into the logs here and just see what it's doing. And it looks like everything here is good to go. It has connected to the database, and it's created, or it's done the migration it needs to do, and it's created the stuff it needs to create. So all of that looks good. And hey, look, now we're up, we're healthy, we're good to go here. So what we can do is come over here to where our ports are and just click right there. And it's going to say, okay, that's fine. I don't care. There we go. So we don't have an account here yet. So if you need to, you will need to click the sign up link right there and create your user and your password. And then we can click sign up and then log in. Just like that, we're set up, we're ready to go. Just took us a couple of minutes to deploy. And of course, you can come in here. You can archive or delete whatever you want to. You can manipulate anything that's in here. You can create new notes. Of course, the first thing I like to do in this case is come over to here and switch to dark mode. I know some people have left comments on my videos saying that it's hard for them to read what I'm doing in dark mode. It's easier on my eyes. I apologize if that's an issue while you're watching these videos. If it is though, let me know in the comment section down below. Would appreciate that. But that's how easy it is to use Blinko. It's how easy it is to set up Blinko. As I mentioned, everything will be linked in the video description down below if you want to check any of that out. But I think with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. As always, I want to thank you guys for spending a few minutes of your day with me here today. I'm going to go. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you next time.